So, my wife loves lox. Her being Jewish, of course, we would typically have it on bagel with cream cheese, maybe some red onion, maybe some tomato. We started dieting a little bit more, the bagels had to go. So one day I kind of find my wife just eating smoked salmon rolled up with her fingers. That's kind of a non-starter for me. I find smoked salmon to be too much of a specific texture with a lot of salt, fat, and smoke to it, so I find it really needs to be offset in some way. So first up, we need kind of a vessel to not have a bunch of greasy fish on our fingers, so we will start out with some sushi nori. We're basically gonna make a breakfast hand roll. First of all, I never really got the whole cream cheese with lox thing because it feels like too much doubling down on the same flavor profile. Seeking to offset that a bit, we're gonna go ricotta cheese with heavy cream and a little wasabi powder. From there, I'm going to peel and grate some fresh ginger, and I'm going to add to that some yuzu ponzu. I put those both in the fridge to let the wasabi develop a bit and let the ginger kind of marry with the yuzu ponzu. And then I'm just going to julienne slice some scallions, or possibly thinly slice some red onions, as well as some fresh cucumber, kind of roughly matchstick cut. From there, it's just assembling and rolling like so. One thing I will add, you do kind of want to eat within a few minutes of assembling just because all of the liquid that you're adding tends to kind of soak through into the nori and take away that crispiness that makes it so lovely, and it can get pretty soggy. P.S. No one in this house ever gets tired of uni, so we're serving it up with some uni. And a latte. As I finish my coffee, you might be wondering what else goes well with this. Glad you asked. Miso soup. My wife taught me to make miso, so this is going to be kind of a rough adaptation of her recipe. My variation is that I like to use fish stock that I've frozen into cubes. Not only do you get a ton of gelatin and collagen from the fish heads and bones themselves, but also to be considered is rendering down your fish carcasses can save you from a horrendous smell if, say, you throw away raw fish and you've missed trash day. Biggest word of caution I can give on reheating or boiling fish stock is to really not get it to a rolling boil. That can really make your house smell of really strong compounds from the fish oils. Next to that stock, I'll be rinsing and adding some kombu, which is basically like a leathery, dried seaweed. It adds a really nice kind of umami base. Once it's had maybe 5 to 10 minutes to steep into the broth, I'm gonna take that out and then add some dry ingredients. Wakame, dried seaweed, and some dried chanterelles that my friend Alyssa just brought down from the Pacific Northwest. Usually I would opt for shiitake, but I can't get enough of these lately. Next up is the actual miso. One thing I learned from my wife is to never really put the miso directly into the broth so much as kind of whisk it up into a dilution in a smaller amount of water so that you're not chasing it around the soup. I also let the broth cool to well below boiling before adding it so that you don't get these weird little coagulated bits. And no, I don't mess with tofu in my miso usually. I kind of like it as a side to something more substantial, so I'm not really looking for much protein so much as just liquid comfort. Anyway, thanks for coming along. That's gonna do it. See you on the next one.